All right, everybody, let's get going with this top stories segment this afternoon on News Now, which is a part of Fox10Phoenix.com. Wednesday, already June 5th. Can you believe it? Halfway through the year, you know, being in June and all. And today, this morning, you know, I got a kind of a funny story. I must start with this. By the way, you may notice I forgot some earrings today, and it's because I was running out the door because I had a dentist appointment before work. And, you know, you're supposed to go see the dentist every 6 months, you know, to get a cleaning. And so I told my dentist, hey, doctor, the next time I'll see you is December. And I was like, the holidays already. It's kind of weird how, like, summer is, like, barely starting. Like, we're not even officially to summer yet, and then I'm thinking ahead to the holidays. It's like, wow, where is 2019 going? Right before we know it, it's going to be 2020. And News Now will have more content, more hosts, and it's going to be great to share all of that together. Right, everybody? All right, so the clock is ticking. We're just days away from these tariffs going into effect in regards to Mexican goods, right? We've been doing so many stories as to how this is going to impact us as American consumers. Well, Mexico is telling President Trump that they should be able to fix things before the clock runs out. Let's get the latest in this first top story I have for you right here on News Now, which is a part of Fox10Phoenix.com.
Minister arrived on Capitol Hill to lobby House Speaker Nancy Pelosi on tariffs ahead of a critical meeting tomorrow with top Trump administration officials.
We are looking for an agreement.
The House Republican leader said that U.S.-Mexico face-to-face is critical.
If they are able to help us along this border, there will be no tariffs, and that's why this meeting tomorrow will be so important.
Majority Leader Mitch McConnell was pretty blunt about the Senate Republican view of tariffs.
There is not much support in my conference for tariffs, that's for sure. But we appreciate the opportunity. We had an opportunity at lunch to talk to a number of representatives from the White House about this particular strategy.
And the Senate's top Democrat predicted the president will ultimately cave.
Confident is too strong a word, but if past his prologue, he makes these threats and then he backs off when he sees the danger. I have a feeling that this one just popped into his head.
Congress could take action trying to block President Trump's proposed Mexico tariffs. But Majority Leader Steny Hoyer told reporters the vote count isn't anywhere close to a veto-proof number. Other Democrats continue attacking President Trump's approach.
The president often conducts himself in an erratic fashion as it relates to economic policy, particularly in terms of his deployment of tariffs.
Some lawmakers are differing over the pain felt if no deal is struck between the U.S. and Mexico.
Well, I think a 5% tariff will have a negligible impact.
Well, it's negligible unless it's your company that's going to have to shut down as a result of it.
Part of the context here is Congress must still approve the new trade agreement with Canada and Mexico. But Texas Republican Senator John Cornyn says he does not think lawmakers can consider it during a trade fight with Mexico. On Capitol Hill, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
All right, Mike, thanks so much for that update there. He mentioned John Cornyn. I actually had the pleasure of interviewing him when I worked and lived in the San Antonio, Texas market there. All right, we are going to take a look. There's been some catastrophic weather across the U.S., right? Tornadoes, flooding, unfortunately turned very deadly parts of the Midwest, Texas, Oklahoma, you name it. We've covered a lot of it right here on News Now. So what do the police do when there's flooded streets and they still need a patrol? They get some boats.
Well, this is the way into West Dalton, and you can see it is underwater. I went on a patrol with police to see what it looks like in town. Captain David Tiefenbrunn tells me St. Charles County officers are patrolling West Alton in boats round the clock. They work together with the Missouri Highway Patrol.
To keep the criminal element out of the area, keep the onlookers out of the area, and to be here for the residents.
He says since the flooding began weeks ago, there have been 2 incidents of looting. At least one suspect was caught.
When you get people that are down and out on their luck and are losing everything that they own, and then a thief wants to come in and take what little bit they might have, that stoops to a new low.
Many of the homes in West Alton are underwater, but some were built so the first level can take the floodwaters. The power is still on, and about a dozen families are still in their homes upstairs, high and dry. Residents are grateful St. Charles County Police are putting in 12-hour shifts, not only on the water, but on the nearby highways, keeping folks away who should not be here.
Knowing that they're out here to protect us, and knowing that they're here for us, and make sure that we're safe.
The sights of a flooded town are overwhelming. That's the ball field. That's the church on the river, now in the river. Stop signs are barely above the water.
I am not originally from here in West Alton, so it's been kind of a huge shocker, especially since it's almost as bad as 93. It's overwhelming and devastating.
With the large police presence, if looters show up and try to break in now, it's likely they'll end up in the county jail. By the way, if you plan to come up here and flood sightsee, police are saying don't. In West Alton, I'm Rocky Madden, Fox 2 News.
All right, everybody, some strong advice there. We are taking you out to some breaking news here in the Valley. Our Fox 10 Phoenix's very own Sky Fox live over a reported shooting at a strip mall. All we have heard so far, this is near 51st Avenue and McDowell Road. So again, you see the mobile command unit set up. You see the yellow police tape. They are definitely investigating something. When and if we get any new information, I'll bring it to you right here on News Now, which is a part of fox10phoenix.com, because this is what we do. We bring you live breaking news coverage every single day for 11 hours a day. Sky Fox live over the scene there. You can tell it's a very busy strip mall, a lot of businesses, and it's a Wednesday afternoon lunch hour, matter of fact, for a lot of people. So just stay safe and stay vigilant. If police ask you to kind of get out of their way while they investigate something, it's probably a good idea to comply with their request. So they're trying to zoom in here and show us exactly what type of businesses are there. But there's a lot. There's quite a few there. Again, 51st Avenue and McDowell Road right here in Phoenix, Arizona. We're going to head on over to California now for a couple different top stories. Turns out the nation's second LGBTQ homeless center is now open in California. Let's get the details.
By design, the New Haven Inn in San Jose looks less like a homeless shelter and more like a home. For the LGBTQ residents that live here, it feels more like one, too.
Its name is a safe haven. It's a place to go where you're not going to fear of violence or persecution because of your sexual preference.
Chris Miller had been living under bridges before he came here. He says for members of the LGBTQ community, traditional homeless shelters are often hostile places.
I've been to most of the shelters in the South Bay Area, and I've never felt safe in one of them. I had a full night's sleep.
Oftentimes, many felt like they were safer on the streets than in large shelters.
And so Santa Clara County officials listened to these concerns and opened New Haven, focused specifically on the LGBTQ community. It is only the second of its kind in the nation, the first being in San Francisco. And it comes at a time when federal housing officials are considering changes to some equal access protections.
There's never been a greater need for a shelter like this than right now.
The inspiration was so strong that it moved the Board of Supervisors to act immediately.
The shelter offers case managers, job specialists, and support groups, among other things. Residents can stay 90 days.
So coming here to a place where they can be respected for the first time, and then you can start to work on your life. You can't stop being homeless unless you have a safe place to do it from.
And even though the shelter is new and relatively small, housing just 20 at a time, residents say it's already making a big impact.
I mean, as you see, I tremble just talking about it because they have given me back just that little bit of hope that I need. And I'm so grateful.
Speaking of making an impact and changing people's lives, the city of San Francisco considering a very important vote in regards to mental health.
One look at San Francisco's streets, and it's easy to spot those battling mental health or substance abuse issues. The mayor pushing for conservatorship, allowing the city to force someone into treatment.
What you see on our streets, what you see playing itself out on our streets is a crisis, and we have to do something a lot different than we have in the past.
Currently, San Francisco can conserve people who are gravely mentally ill. The new pilot program is aimed at forcing those who've been put on mental health holds 8 times or more in 1 year into treatment plans. San Francisco would have to offer outpatient treatment. Backers say with that restriction, only about 5 people would be covered by any new conservatorship laws.
Right now, we don't have everything that we need to help them. We're using our jails to cycle people with mental illness in and out of our criminal justice system. It's not a solution.
Critics say despite any good intentions, make no mistake, conservatorship means stripping a person of their rights to make decisions for themselves. Critics also say it simply won't work.
And if that's including substance abuse, we know what doesn't work in the world of substance abuse is coerced and forced treatment.
Critics say they fear any conservatorship in San Francisco is just the first step. Kurt Child from Disability Rights California says State Senator Scott Wiener is working on legislation to expand conservatorship to address
the very frustration. They said that it would only be 3 to 5 people. They need to open it up to a significantly greater number of people.
All right, isn't it great here on News Now how we can go from state to state, community to community, pretty much nationwide, sometimes international, to bring you news that we think can help benefit your life. Well, now we're going to head on over to the state of Washington. We're going to stay on the West Coast where they're battling a wildfire that has grown to more than 5,000 acres.
From the air and the ground, fire crews trying to gain the upper hand on the 243 fire, which has burned over 5,000 acres in the last 24 hours. Fire officials say the fire is acting like it would in mid-August and not the beginning of June. Heavy fuel loads, brush, and erratic winds are making this fire difficult to contain with multiple hotspots. At risk, farmland, cattle, homes, and infrastructure. We were the only station from Spokane that fire officials took beyond the fire lines to see firsthand the line of flames burning everything in its path, leaving nothing but charred ground in its wake. Also at risk are archaeological sites and one of the nation's largest monarch butterfly breeding grounds. Jose Marmelo lives in Royal City where the fire is burning just outside of town and is concerned for the people who could be facing the flames.
I'm just a little concerned about if the fire were to spread down this far and were to reach people down here. My main concern is the people who live down here and their safety of the people who live down here.
Oh man, those wildfires sure are dangerous, aren't they? Well, fighting them is very important. We learned last year with what happened in Paradise, California, right? And we streamed a lot of the devastation, the destruction right here on News Now. We're hoping that we won't have to see a wildfire season like that again. But I'm going to bring it back here to Arizona for this last top story of this Wednesday afternoon segment, where we take a look at kind of behind the scenes, a giant wildfire air tanker. Let's watch.
My name is Chris Price. I work for the U.S. Forest Service. I'm the tanker base manager here at Gateway Tanker Base in Mesa, Arizona. Behind me is the 10 tanker. It's a DC-10 model that's been utilized and changed into a retardant aircraft. Inside that tank holds 9,400 gallons of liquid retardant. With that being said, to give you kind of an idea of a measure, that's about the same amount of liquid in a residential swimming pool. So when you go inside of one of these aircraft, they completely remove the interiors off of these planes. So when this is going into a fire scenario, you'll have 3 people on board, will be consisting of a captain, a first officer, and a flight engineer. The DC-10, we can get it filled in about 16 minutes. So these aircraft go anywhere in the nation, so they can be here to get today, gone tomorrow. There's only 2 places in the Southwest that will be able to service our area, and that would be here in Roswell, New Mexico.
Wow, that's what we call a NAT package. Remember, everybody, I like to teach you guys new stuff about journalism and the industry and broadcasting right here. So a NAT package means that you just heard the sound of the tanker, all the natural sound, and then you were able to hear from that interviewee as well. Pretty cool story, though. Looks like Skyfox is leaving the scene of that reported shooting, but police have confirmed it. 51st Avenue and McDowell. Skyfox taken off, though. That's A-OK. We'll take you back to the New York Stock Exchange, the big board, Dow Jones Industrial. Looking pretty good today. Hey, if any news breaks across the country, we'll have you covered right here on News Now, which is a part of Fox10Phoenix.com. We have a gorgeous Manhattan live picture as well. I'll double box it for you. If you've ever been on top of the Empire State Building, you're going to like this one for sure. If you've ever been to New York, you're going to like it for sure. And hey, even if you've never been to New York, but you've dreamt about it, because it is one of the top destinations in the world, you're going to like this skyline view as well.